Mom and Dad for showing me how to seek God first for everything. And I want to tell you, as somebody who has known that family for a number of years, that will be what holds that marriage together. Two people seeking one God above all else. So no matter what the issue is, no matter what the conversation is, no matter what the confusion is, they will turn to one God and seek Him first. And their unity on who they go to first will be their unity in making the toughest decisions. The truth is, our ability to walk in the Spirit and make wise decisions is our ability to know that we go to God first. To say, Lord, I trust you with this. I have a devotional time with you. I'm together with the church family. I come together and we carry the burden together. Friends, when you come to this church, it's not because you all bring your weight and say, oh, I don't know what to do with it. We come together because we're a family. And families carry the burden together. When somebody's sick, we carry the burden together. When somebody needs help, we carry the burden together. There's nothing wrong with asking for help from your church family, because we're burden carriers. That's what we do. The Christian life was never meant to walk alone, and when we try and walk it alone, we find ourselves lonely. We find ourselves discouraged. We find ourselves in trouble often. And finally, the truth is that when we carry the burden together, we carry the burden of Christ. And there was one thing that we're instructed to do in Matthew chapter 28. He says this, he says, go and make disciples. What is the burden that we're to carry? What is this thing we're supposed to be carrying with us today in 2015? We're supposed to be carrying the go and make disciples burden. You and I have a responsibility, an engagement with God to carry a burden. And that burden is, God said, I so love the world that I gave my Son, Jesus Christ, to die on a cross because my heart is passionate for a lost and dying world. And your knowledge of me and my relationship with you is now the burden of Christ. And that burden is to go and make disciples. You and I carry that burden. For the non-believer, for those who don't necessarily say, well, I'm not sure what I believe about God or how much I believe about God, this is optional for you. But for those of us who have committed our lives to Jesus, we carry the burden with Christ, and that is the burden of His name. Hello? We carry His name and His direction to each one of us. The commission, the commandment, the drive is to go and make disciples. You don't carry that burden by yourself, but you carry that burden with the family of God. So I'm going to invite you to ask yourself two questions as the worship team comes back. First question is this: am I walking in step with the Spirit? Do I know the rhythm of the Spirit, and am I walking in step with the Spirit? Do I know the rhythm of the Spirit? Do I find myself asking, why did I sign up for this more often than I say, Lord, thank you for the opportunity to serve with this person, with that person, in this arena, in that arena, whatever it is? Am I walking in step with the Spirit? Is there a hunger? Is there a passion? Is my devotional life there? Second question, am I burden sharing? Am I carrying all the weight by myself? Or am I allowing my church family to pray and agree with me? Am I helping somebody else carry their burden? As we came back a week ago from our holidays, I was walking through the airport. I think I told you the story. And you may at some point see a picture. And I was carrying the suitcase, and it was on wheels, and I was pulling it. And little Jacob was walking along, and he saw Daddy pulling the suitcase, and so on the other side, he was on the other side of the suitcase, and I was walking like this, pulling the suitcase. And of course, little Jacob reached out his hand and held on to the suitcase. Now, was he carrying any of the load? In his mind. And so as we walked along, sure, I slowed down greatly. And sure, it took me longer to do what I wanted to do to get to where we were going. But you know, at that very moment, what was happening is Jacob was learning how to burden share. The weight of the suitcase had to be carried from where it was to where it was going. And Jacob reached out, put his little hand on a suitcase he could never carry on his own, and walked with me as we carried the suitcase. Friends, there are moments when you and I have to reach out and carry somebody else's baggage. There are moments when you and I have to reach out and go, let me help you carry that load. That's too much. Let me help you carry the weight that you're carrying today. Let me help you. Maybe there's somebody not here today, and God would place it on your heart to give them a call. You say, I don't know. They've made choices. That's why they're in the situation they're in. That's okay. And now God's calling you to join them in the situation and carry the burden. Remember what I said last week? There's lots of fruit inspectors. We don't need more fruit inspectors. We need people who are bearing the fruit of Christ. So we carry the load. 2 questions. Am I walking in step with the Spirit? And am I burden sharing? Let's stand together.